In this video, we're going to talk about cropping strategies in Photoshop. I'm using Photoshop CS6 here, but this should apply in most, if not all, versions of Photoshop. Alright. So I've opened up a picture here. One of the first things we can do is go View and Fit on Screen, which will give us a maximized view of what we're looking at. Alright. Now, in the upper left-hand corner on the toolbar, the second part down, you see the little, if you click and hold on the icon there, you'll see you have different choices. Your rectangular marquee tool, elliptical, single row, and single column. Okay, we'll concern ourselves with the top two, first one at this moment, so let's select that one. And when you've selected a tool, you'll see that along the top here there's options for that particular tool. Alright, now the options that we're going to look at the moment are the style here, where we have a choice of normal, fixed ratio, or fixed size. Alright, so normal is simply this kind of thing where you can click to choose one corner, drag across, and basically swing the arrow around until you get the size you want, and that's your selection. Alright, keep in mind that you can invert your selection, so sometimes what you actually want is the area outside the area you've selected, so you can say select inverse. Okay, and that will actually create, if I copy and paste that, for example, and we turn off the back there, you can see that I've actually copied and pasted the whole outside, not the inside that we were looking at there. So now if we go to our history, go back to when we opened, we can show you that other than the normal, like so, we can choose fixed ratio. So sometimes for example, that you want a 4:6 photo to be pulled out of whatever image that you have. Okay, now once you've done that, you still have freedom to pull, but it's going to force you to maintain that aspect ratio that you've chosen. So if you choose your anchor points carefully, right, you can get exactly the shot that you want. And of course, once you've created a selection, you can move it around. Okay, for some reason on my screen right now, it's leaving those little dashed lines all over the place. Normally the whole box would just move smoothly, and in this way you can fine-tune your selection. Now that's fixed ratio. If you go to fixed size, then you're actually putting in a pixel value for what you want. So you say, I need exactly 500 by 360. Right? Then when you click and place your selection, that's exactly what you're going to get. Now when we're doing this here at that pixel size, you see we're not really getting much more than a piece of an egg. Right? If you run across that kind of scenario, what you can do is shrink down your image. So let's go image size. This is a large image, right? So we got 3872. Let's make it 1000 wide. We'll shrink that down. Once again, we'll say View, Fit on Screen, and then now when I choose that size, I get a much more reasonable image off of my image. And of course, if you sit down and do the math and figure out ratios or whatever you want, you can get this to be covering exactly the kind of area that you want. Sometimes the simplest thing in a case like this, you need 500 wide and 360 high. You would say image size, put 500 wide. Oh, See, now you see that you don't get your 360. It's not, it wouldn't be high enough. So put the 360 here instead, which gives us some that we can trim off the 500. So if we say OK to that, and then when we place our selection, we see that we're getting almost the whole image, right? And we're just going to trim off a little bit of edge here and there, right? So the actual command for cropping, once you've made your selection, is simply image crop, and there's what we have there. If we go back to when the image was opened, in the history there, view, fit on screen, you know, if you wanted just a little texture there, image crop, there's the actual pixel view of cropping in that close on one of the Easter eggs. Now that's regular rectangular crop, right? We also have, if we click and hold on the tool here, all the tools with the little arrow in the bottom right hand corner, you can click and hold and you'll get different options. So let's go down to the second elliptical marquee tool, okay? And basically, if you draw a square, you know, if you start at one corner and start pulling toward another, you'll end up with, it'll create an ellipse within that box. Alright, so say if we make a bit of an egg-shaped oval here, say we cropped it. Now if we go to edit, copy, and then edit, paste, and then we go to our layers and we turn off the background. There we go. We have the oval that we've selected with the egg texture right on it there. Now let's go back here, and aside from your marquee tools here, right below that, the other tool, we've got lasso, polygonal lasso, and the magnetic lasso tool. Now if we go to the polygonal, for example, we could make a star shape, for example. The polygonal lasso works like on a point system. So we click for your first point, and then you see it has a line here. Click your second point, third point, fourth, etc. See how well of a job I can do of a star freehand here. And when you click on the point you started with, the shape is closed, right? So now that I have that shape, if I say edit, copy, okay, now we have that in the clipboard. One thing you can do is, once it's in the clipboard, you say File, New, okay, and it will give you a new image size to just fit the contents of the clipboard, okay? So now we click OK, and if we say edit, paste, there's the piece that we have there. And if we go to layers and we turn off the background, the little squares are indicating transparency. Now if I saved this in a transparent format like GIF or PNG, then on a website I could have this shape with whatever the background of my website happens to be, showing through where these squares are showing. We go back to the beginning on the other. Now that's the polygonal lasso. In terms of other types of selection that you can do, third tool down, we've got the magic wand tool, which will select areas of color. There's enough gradients and such in here that that's not going to work very well with this particular photo, although you can do this kind of thing. You can click once and then shift click, right, to try and get the area to grow. And of course up here on your toolbar that has the options, the tolerance means, you know, how close does it want, do you want your color matching? At 0 it would be you want an exact match, right? But say if we put this up to 80 and then we're shift clicking, well, you'll see it just bleeds right out, right? It goes actually too far, right? So maybe somewhere around, if we go select, deselect, right, now we're getting a wider region. You know, that kind of thing. But again, this isn't the most ideal photograph for the magic wand. But what you should remember ultimately is that once you've made a selection, whatever shape it happens to be, if you say edit, copy, file, new, click OK, and then edit, paste, it's going to give you in a new file that selection as tightly bound in the document as it can be while, you know, filling the document. So those are some options for you in Photoshop in terms of cropping, and I hope you enjoyed the video.